Look at that, Sarah. He's gonna look just like... I think this is gonna be our best design yet.
Rain fell steadily over the cemetery as Ethan Carter stood beside two caskets. One held his wife Sarah, the other held the child they had never met. Around him, friends spoke softly about God's plan and heaven's promises, but their words felt hollow. Ethan stared at the fresh earth and whispered, "If this is your plan, I don't want any part of it." That day he walked away from God. Years passed. Ethan buried himself in work and became one of the country's most respected architects. He designed towers that reached into the sky, but every evening he returned to an empty apartment. Success filled his bank account, but grief still occupied his heart. Then came the phone call he had been dreading. His father had died. With no choice, Ethan returned to the small town he had left decades earlier. It looked almost unchanged. The white church with its steeple, the quiet streets, the familiar faces. Yet to Ethan, it felt like a place frozen in memories he wanted to forget. His father's will contained one surprise. Instead of leaving him money, he inherited an old woodworking shop that was barely staying afloat. Ethan decided he would sell it as soon as possible. When he unlocked the dusty front door, he found someone already inside. An elderly carpenter was sanding a wooden table as though nothing had changed. "You must be Ethan," the man said with a warm smile. "I'm Samuel Brooks." "I own this place now," Ethan replied. Samuel nodded. "Your father told me you'd come one day." Ethan frowned. "He's dead." Samuel smiled gently. He knew. Over the next few days, Ethan sorted through old tools and paperwork while waiting for a buyer. Samuel continued working quietly, repairing chairs, building tables, and carving crosses from rough pieces of oak. "You've spent your whole life working with wood?" Ethan asked. Samuel chuckled. "No. God spent my whole life working on me." Ethan ignored the comment. One afternoon, a teenage boy named Lucas slipped into the shop and tried to steal a toolbox. Ethan caught him. Before he could call the police, Samuel stepped between them. "Give him a job instead. He stole from us. So did I." The words stopped Ethan cold. That evening, Samuel shared his story. Years earlier, he had been an alcoholic who had lost everything: his family, his dignity, and eventually his freedom. In prison, a volunteer handed him a Bible. "I thought God had abandoned me," Samuel said. "Then I realized I was the one who had been running. Jesus met me in a prison cell long before I ever walked back into a church."